Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about the essence of Zen. I will start my talk with a very famous Zen saying. It goes like this: a flying geese intends to cast no shadow, and water has no mind to retain its image. So this saying, according to me, is the essence of Zen. Things are as they are. Flying geese does not intend to cast the shadow, and water does not have the mind to retain the image. When we start putting things through a cause and effect framework, that gives birth to a thought, or the mind as we know it, the analytical mind, which is very good to make money in the market or have success. But to realize the eternal truth, that mind could be a hindrance. Things as they are, to see that is basically Zen. And that happens when you are in a state of no mind. A state of no mind or a clear mind is what a Zen mind is like. A prolonged state of no mind is what can be called as Satori or Samadhi, where you have a direct perception of reality. There is a very famous book named as The Book of Mirdad by Mikhail Nemi. This was one of the favorite books of Osho, and that's how I heard about this book. In the first chapter of this book, where the Book of Mirdad starts, there's a very famous quote which I really like. The quote goes like this: "Don't ask things to unveil themselves. Unveil your eyes and things will be unveiled." So the process of unveiling your eyes is actually the process of meditation or Zen practice. We see things through the veils, or in a management perspective, Peter Drucker once said that we see the world with tinted glasses, which means we see the world with our preferences, our cultural inputs, our personality, our attachments, our identifications. We don't see things clearly. To see things clearly is to see things through a Zen mind. Let me try and explain this concept through one of my favorite Zen masters. He was a Korean Zen master named as Seung Sahn. He has written two beautiful books on Zen. One book is named as Only Don't Know, and the second book is named as Dropping the Ashes on the Buddha. If you want to really get the essence of Zen, these two books are highly recommended. Seung Sahn has written more books. I'm picking the top two of my favorite books of Seung Sahn. Seung Sahn, in his book, often talked about a concept called as primary point. By primary point, he would give an example of a weighing scale. The weighing scale has a primary point of 0. The moment you put a load on it, it may show 5 kgs. But the moment you remove that load, the weighing scale goes back to 0. If you put 20 kgs, it goes to 20 kgs. But you remove the load, it goes back to 0. By this example, the master was trying to say that the primary point of the weighing scale is 0. And the moment a load comes, it reflects. The moment load goes back, it goes back to 0. But does it happen in our lives? When we feel a pressure of a situation, we do feel the load, maybe 10 kgs. But do we go back to 0 instantly? The answer is no. We drag that load along for a long time. Likewise, when we get happiness, the success creates ego, goes into our head. It does not go back to 0, which means we don't have a primary point in check. And the Zen mind is the primary point, which means to live in the void, to be rooted in nothingness, to see things as it is. In another example that Seung Sahn uses a lot, he gives an example of a mirror. So he says a Zen mind is like a mirror. If red comes, it reflects red. If green comes, it reflects green. Red could be the bad situations in life, green could be the great situations in life. So a mirror does not retain, it just reflects. While our mind, our personality, has a habit of retaining and not reflecting. So this is fundamentally what a Zen mind is like. I would like to just introduce another concept which is called as the Bula Rasa. Now this is a very old concept that has been written about by Aristotle. But in the 18th century it was written by John Locke, and in the 20th century Osho also spoke about this. So what is exactly the Bula Rasa? It is basically a clean slate. When we are born, we are like a clean slate. But the moment we are born, we get a name, we get an identity, we become an Indian or an Australian or any nationality, we get a gender, and so on. We are no longer tabula rasa. We become identified. We are conditioned. Of course, that conditioning is needed from a convenience perspective, from a utility perspective. If we have to meet at the same place at the same time, names and forms become important in that sense. But those are not eternal realities. And a Zen mind is basically going back, taking a step back to the source, the true nature, as we can call it. That is basically the practice of Zen. Going back to a state of no mind. There was another Zen master named Bankei. He used to use the word unborn mind. It's a very interesting analogy. What is unborn mind? Anything that is born will perish. It may take 100 years. A man may live for 70 years. Earth may live for 7 billion years. Another planet may live for 10 billion years. But still, whatever gets created will get destroyed. So to give the right perspective of what is eternal means it is not born and hence it will not die. So Bankei uses the concept unborn mind, which is basically the Zen mind. I would like to end this talk with reference to Zen Master Shunryu Suzuki. He has written a very famous book called as Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. So what does he really mean by that? He says that a Zen mind is a beginner's mind. It has many possibilities. Whereas an expert mind is already conditioned. It already has a very clear perspective and it is not very open. And you can see this through your real life examples. If you are interested in politics, you would be very clearly identified to one political ideology. And if someone tries to oppose that, you will really not hear the person because you're already attached to a ideology. So you're no longer a beginner's mind there. You're clearly an expert and you're clearly well aligned to one philosophy. So that is no longer a beginner's mind. So this concept, Zen mind's beginner's mind, is also a very powerful concept. So that beginner's mind, which has possibilities, which is not so conditioned, or which has reversed its conditioning through meditation practice, is basically a Zen mind. So as Shunryu Suzuki says somewhere in his book, that when you sit in meditation, keep your front door and back door open. Let the thoughts come in, let the thoughts go. Just don't serve them tea or coffee. And just before ending, I'm reminded of a very famous Zen master named Kodo Sawaki. I love one of his quotes. He says that the entire Buddhism is a footnote to Zen. And I think this is a very, very powerful statement. If you meditate deeply, you will realize what Zen is and what Zen mind is. And that is the essence of Buddhism. That is the essence of a spiritual practice. Thank you for watching. As I said earlier, please subscribe to my channel, like and spread the word. Meditation is a very hard subject to promote. All your help is highly sought after. Thank you once again.